Hello, you're welcome to Further Together.
Reaching relationships, creating a better future.
Yes, you're right. You're crazy. I want to say thank you so much. If you are joining us for the first time, we want to take this opportunity to welcome you and appreciate joining. We will also encourage you to share with friends and family so that they benefit from what you are going to benefit tonight. And if you are a regular, we want to say thank you very much for coming back. Encourage you to share with friends and families the content that you enjoy tonight. Tonight is a great night, and we are going to dive into a great topic.
Amazing. Tonight we're discussing tips for a successful marriage. You know, right here on Further Together, we've got everyone covered. Be it you are in your first marriage, second, fourth, everyone covered.
You're just engaged.
Yes, or you are engaged, or you're dating. We've got everybody covered right here on Further Together. First things first, a happy new month. Welcome to the month of September. Day marks. Yeah.
Yes, I'm looking here. Yes, audio is not clear. Can you help somebody? Somebody saying the audio is not clear.
Yeah, it's fine.
To those who are hearing us from outside the app, can you please confirm if the audio is not as clear as it is being said? All right. Let me try to do something here. Just a little bit. All right. Yeah. Now it's better. Thank you so much. Better now. We are so happy. And tonight, our topic for tonight is
tips for a successful
remarriage. Yes, we're aware that on Further we have people married, we have those who are single and those who are remarried, which we all want everybody fits. We want a good relationship, all spheres of life, including with our children. That's why tonight we have been inviting Moni from talk show, who is going to be our guide. Say, gentlemen, shall we? Beautiful lady. How are you?
Thank you so much. How are you, Kuti? Hi, Priscilla.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us on Further Together. We've been following your work, and we can say that you are one consistent woman with relationship. And viewers were saying that they are looking forward to hearing what our relationship technician has to share with us this evening. And we are believing God that tonight's going to be a night. Trey says it's still cracking. Do you want to take off the microphone, maybe? Just bear with us, please. We'll just try and sort this out. It's not going to be long. Bear with us, please.
Yeah, we're gonna try to deal with this. Yeah, I think we are there now. We should be there right now.
Getting better now.
Now?
It's having this echo sound.
Wow. Right.
Can you?
How are we doing now?
You sound better, I think.
Sounds better. Our apologies.
No, it's all right. The devil is the liar.
Pastor Snail from India, greetings, my brother. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mr. Kutsirai, thank you very much for tuning in.
I think we are back on now. We had come off quickly, and then we had to go on. So I think the glitch. So do keep us informed if you cannot hear us at any time. And Pastor Michelle, thank you for tuning in. Diallo, thank you for tuning in. And I think it's good to go straight to it. Do share this broadcast if you can. Yes. So we have right on the broadcast, Morley. Can you kindly tell us a bit more about yourself and what you do for those that know you?
Oh, thank you so much. Anyway, I want to thank you, Priscilla and Kuzi, for inviting me on this talk. You know, are you still connected, guys?
Yes, we are.
Oh, you are? Okay, lovely. All right, so I'm the founder of Molly's Talk. Initially, I found the family arc. So when I started with the family arc, I had many people who were, out of, first marriages, who were like, others were not married. They thought that they couldn't fit in the family arc. When I had the vision of the family arc, it was basically after I went through my own ordeal as a Christian woman. I think us as Christians, when relationships are in a turbulence.
Hello, Molly. Do you have a microphone on your gadget?
No.
You have a microphone on?
No.
Oh, do you have your gadget connected?
No, this one I've disconnected it. It's actually offline.
Yeah. Struggling to
pick up where they disconnected. All of them are disconnected. Would you want us to try again? Maybe I come out, then I join in again.
Please do that. Yes. Can you come out and come back again?
Wow.
Apologies for that. Thank you so much for letting us know. We really apologize. You don't know what's happening, but we are trusting that as she comes back, things will be back to normal.
Shout out Michaela Kane, they're thanking us this evening. Hazel, love you, sis. Pastor Michelle, you're right there. Thank you for connecting with us. Do let us know if you're connecting for the first time. You are regular.
All this on our end as well.
Okay, she's back on.
We are going to come out and yes, guys, we are back. Hopefully you can hear us and you can hear us clearly. How is it? We can't hear anything from our end. So if you guys can help us know if everything is fine, it'll be helpful.
I'm back.
Yes.
You're back, and now we're just relying on the guests to let us, on our viewers to let us know if you can hear us.
Yeah, it's lovely now.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's great now.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, good. Thank you so much.
Thank God. Yeah.
No, thank you for staying with us. Very much, Mr. Kutsirai. Right, Molly, you were story, and
I think it's
we
best to
cut
just
you.
start.
So can
Yeah.
you start, quickly tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, then. Thank you. So, my name is Molly Mwarowa, and I'm the founder of Molly's Talk, which I do blog a lot. I started blogging, like in 2005, 2006 there. But basically on Facebook, I think I started really posting much. That was from 2016. But initially, I had a group of women which I had to form after I started the family arc, actually. Because when I started the family arc, most people couldn't relate who were out of marriages. And myself, I started the family arc after I went through my own ordeal, you know. Um, that was in 2005. So what happened to me was, all of us, we prayed before we got married. We believed. I was, in AFM church then, and would go Kumashingo to pray. I hope your viewers speak Shona. Sometimes I do speak Shona a bit. Yeah, so as I prayed, what you all expect, that when you get married, everything is gonna work out very well. Then to realize that the things that I thought I knew about the guy, I didn't know the guy very well. All that I realized the day before my wedding. And that was my first marriage, because I then remarried later on. So when I started the family arc, I had my first marriage had not worked out well, and I had time to ask God, like, now that I'm in this situation, does it mean that I didn't pray enough? Because my first husband just told me he was going to England the day before he left. But there were moments that I learned a lot of things anyway, in that relationship. Soon after, coming from honeymoon, you can imagine, and someone is arrested, you start to know a lot of things soon after you get married to the person who you didn't really well know. That's what happened to me. I'm talking not as a victim, but as a survivor. I went through a lot. So I realized that in the church, people were not telling us the real life in marriages. So I started my ministry by going to bridal parties, challenging the older women to say, you know what, it's high time you need to tell these girls the truth before they marry. Are you even happy yourselves? Right now, yourself, even as my mfundi say, are you happy in the marriage? We need to come out of this situation where we pretend as if marriages are a bed of roses. And at the same time, do we really have the master plan? Because even Adam and Eve couldn't make it in the marriage. So to me, when I got this revelation, it was more like when I heard of the family arc, the Holy Spirit really told me that, you know what, you're going to travel. This was before I even realized I'm going to be in England and I'm going to be doing all these things. So I can say the family act started like that, as a calling for families, to just be like what happened, with Noah. And at that time, I didn't know, honestly, that, we are going to get to a place where most Christians will be really struggling in their marriages. So when I started the family arc, like I said, some people were out of marriages, who were struggling in marriages, couldn't relate, because they would be like, ourselves, some of us, we are married to people who are not Christians. So how do we relate now on this, the family arc? So the family arc really had a lot of intervention programs in churches. I used to do couples in Zayoja. That's when I really started. So I would be invited and I would be a guest there, and I would talk about my story there. So I ended up even reaching as far as that was the director, what they call family builders, Babam Chenje really listened. And to me, I really thought that church was going somewhere, because people were no longer judging that, you know what, you have been in another marriage before. that's when I realized that we were going somewhere, because you could call and say, you know what, we want to do a family program. How do you think we can do this? So I started doing that. Then I also did a couple of, youth programs and all that. Then later on, I grew, and 2016, that's when I said, you know what, I want to do my first recording for my video. It was before saying I do, because I realized that the problem is not in couples. Because when I would do the couple sessions, I would realize some questions where I'll be like, oh my God, what happened to these people? So that's when I did my first recording. It was before saying I do, which I recorded. That was 2016. Then when I did that, I think to me, it was more like I just wanted to come out, because I realized that I don't have a church where I own the church, because most pastors, they own their people, It's like you approach them, you're like, you know what, this is the program I have. I really want to reach out to people. People are really battling, you will not get that stage. But then one day I remember I visited. So I have a father I really, I really respect a lot, Apostle Bijava. So, when I went one day, for church, I remember him preaching and said, you know what, if God gives you a burden, you will make sure that you will provide everything for you. It was a preaching, and I received it. So to me, I stopped this of saying, I know Pastor so-and-so, I know Pastor so-and-so, to I'm going to start my own ministry. I'm just going to start. How? I don't know. I'm just going to reach out to people. So I used to do this group for women, and it reached more than 250, actually more than 400 women, but some will be coming out. And, then I came a time when I said, you know what, now I want to close this group. Then when I really felt that I was growing, I needed now to do my outreaches on Facebook. Then that's when I started doing on Facebook. That was like in 2018. That group until now is still existing, but I'm not part of the group anymore. So they own the group. They, to me, it was a success, because they've continued and they're doing whatever they're doing. Then I started Molly's Talk. Why I started Molly's Talk? It was because I wanted to relate to people who feel that maybe their relationships are not doing very well. Maybe they've come out of relationships. Maybe they've remarried, because in church, people are labeled. Mvana, when my child remarry, hey, you have sinned and all that. But because
this is where I think your story is so unique. When I was speaking to you the other time, you did share to me that you believed God for your second husband to haven't been in marriage, and you had a child from your first marriage, but you believed God that you'd get married to a man who didn't have a child. Things that sometimes in society they are like, no, if you've had children, you've got to find somebody with children as well. So I think that makes your story even more powerful. And we are talking of tips for a successful remarriage. And are there any unique challenges that people that are in remarriage are facing,
which are different from those who are in first marriages?
I can say, living it myself, to me, it was a prophecy before I remarried, because when I went to visit Apostle, like where I was, he gave me a prophecy that you're gonna remarry Kujaya. That was the word. And of course, I received the word with, crying and all. So for me, really, I can't say it was my doing, but I think it was something that was really orchestrated by God from the beginning. Maybe because it had to be done, and it had to be me. So for me, basically, I believe that when it comes to remarriage, it's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. Yes, I know I'm in it, but it doesn't mean that it's simple. There are dynamics in a remarriage.
What are the dynamics, if we may ask?
Have we lost her?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Bear with us, please. Yeah, we
Just a minute, Molly. She had dropped. I think it's the internet. Oh my God.
Tonight.
Um,
Molly, are you connected?
can you please call him?
Okay.
Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We just lost her and trying to reconnect.
Hello.
Yes, Molly, we had lost you.
Oh, that's terrible. Thanks, Kudzi. Thanks, Priscilla.
And now coming back,
To the dynamic.
you were talking about the dynamics. What are the dynamics that you can say these ones are mainly for the for remarriage and the remarried ones?
Okay, from the beginning, like I was saying, myself, I was coming from another marriage. I had wedded before. So the first thing is you have to go through a divorce, and that's an area which is very expensive. Like myself, my first husband had left for England. I didn't even have an address for him. I didn't have anything. I didn't know how to get in touch with him. And you can imagine the papers needed to go somewhere. I struggled with those papers. I mean, I went through a lot, just doing the process, which couldn't happen to an extent that at least, Simba, my husband, had seen me, had really approved of me to be his wife. And he said, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and marry you because at the end of the day, I know you don't have anyone in your life because we were always together. So he came to marry me whilst the marriage was still standing. As much as it can be very controversial, but that's what happened. I couldn't even do the divorce because I had to go to see the judge president because of my issue, And finally, we were referred to, one of the greatest lawyers who managed to apply, it was something else. So that was the first dynamic. The second dynamic is this guy Ijayaga. In the community, you'll be regarded in Van. It doesn't matter you have wedded before. The community is so rough when it comes to, women who have gone through stuff. Sometimes it's beyond their control because until now, I talk to my father and my mother-in-law. I'm still a good Murora there because that's another dynamic. You continue being a Murora even where you are no longer married until now because there was a child. So it's more like my husband had to take me, the child, and also, some issues where I'm coming from because he also had to be involved. And, of course, there are things that we learned during that process. When we were dating, there were things we didn't talk about, things like the finances over the child. What's going to happen? Those are some of the dynamics. So we struggled during that time when now my sister who was paying the fees was helping me on the fees when she was no longer in Zimbabwe. So Simba had to take over now from grade 4. There is now, he finished the divorce. Our divorce was more than 2,000 US. I'm talking of 2000 and he didn't even have the money. So he took a loan. My husband took a loan to pay my divorce. I really love my husband so much. And he showed me what love is. To me, I saw the love of a man. That's why I talk about love. That's why I can witness to it because I saw it happening in my own life. He stood by me. He stopped doing everything for himself, to make sure that I'm free. My first marriage became a bondage in my life, in our life. It became our divorce, But anyway, we went through it and we were stronger out of it and we were fine. And we learned a lot. So the dynamics continues, like when the daughter now was always going, I mean, she had to be going sometimes to the in-laws. How about our son? Because we have our son together. So it's more like our son is the sister, because for us now, our son never knew that my daughter was mine. He grew up knowing that they were brother and sister, not step brother or anything like that. Of course, you'd question, why is the surname different? But then I explained that, us as women, we always don't carry the same surname sometimes. So that's what he understood, because at that time he was young. Then later on, when he grew up, we now started to tell him. That was like 2 years ago. I think just during COVID, that's when we had to explain. I explained to my son. But until now, he doesn't get it, because the treatment that Simba gives to our daughter is more than the treatment, which he was getting, because Tanya would always get the best. So that's the only dad he knows. So for us, we don't feel like we're in a blended family after all.
Yeah, there's this issue of baggage and the issue of treatment, whereby if you are you have been cheated in your previous, you feel there's he betrayed, so to speak. This gentleman just decided to leave you. Now we are in the new marriage with Simba, where you're not feeling that fear, where you're not putting a leash on him because you're thinking
maybe you're gonna leave me
he might
one
do
day.
the same thing again.
For me, to be honest, I remarried after 7 years. So I had really healed. During the time I was left, I had time to find myself. Because there are reasons why we get married sometimes, which makes us to be fast in these relationships, and we marry people we don't know. So the time I started reflecting on myself, I learned the truth about me, like why I got married in the first relationship. It was basically more of an escape for me. Escape of not wanting to go to school, escape of getting in a marriage where I could be having everything I needed, because the moment I got paid Lobola, I was driving my own car, I was having my life, because previously I was a model before. So it was more like I needed a simple life, which is why most women get in wrong relationships. Because the guys who are able to pay Lobola for you are the guys that will be having a financial stability, not necessarily meaning that they love you. So, I learned a lot when it failed, and also during the time, there's a lot that happened, including I used to trust the guy that he would use my account to do his transactions. Then later on, I was looked for, where, I had to answer from, RBZ, what were you exporting when I didn't export anything? So from the first marriage, there were a lot of things that made me to really feel that I needed to reach out to people. So the time when I remarried Simba, I had healed. I had saved myself. I went back to school. That's when I did my degree in social work. And I was selling that time. I would go to South Africa, don't order, then I would come to Zimbabwe and I would sell like spare parts and all these things. So I think I built myself. When I met Simba, I was healed. I'd found myself.
And how were you received by the community? Let's now not church this time, but the community at large. How were they receiving you? Getting back into another marriage, leaving this one.
So to be honest, people who saw me, what I went through, they never questioned anything. And I mean, honestly, I was told I'm going to England today when the person was leaving tomorrow, you know. So people saw me going through stuff. And I can say from the Christian community, it was actually overwhelming because I've got friends who are pastors and people knew my story. And I think they got to understand really that when you see people divorcing, it's not always what you think it is. You know, there are people who really live into to survive some things which are really tough in life. And of course, initially, you know, people like there are some, you know, wives of pastors who don't, you know, who don't right away appreciate, you know, a mom who is now like who's back now to be a single mom in the church. You can relate when you can be talking to the pastor. You know, sometimes you feel, you know, you'd really want to talk to the pastor because he's the one with the calling. So that's when you're talking, you realize that mindful is not really too happy with me. You know, you can see that people are no longer seeing you the same. You know, I went through that. I can't deny that it does happen. It does happen a lot, you know. But anyway, when you have found yourself, you are not moved by a lot of things.
Just hold on. I think we are struggling to have a good audio for tonight.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's almost we're receiving messages that the audio isn't coming out.
They're saying there's a and it's quite bad.
It's quite bad. Yeah.
Can't we use our Facebook account? Don't you think it might be better? Like if I can tag you, then you share it to Further Together.
Facebook doesn't add. Like okay, let's cut this this broadcast. If you don't mind to come off Molly, if you don't mind coming off.
Okay.
All right, thank you. We do really apologize for the bad. What you're gonna try to do is we are going to cut this broadcast totally. Then we try to come and see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll see how it goes.
Needs to turn off.